let's actually delete this example. No, let's keep this example. We want to add something called support loops, and I will just quickly explain to you what support loops are, and you're actually going to be able to visualize it very easily. So if we create an angle right here and subdivide it like this, then you will see that the subdivision goes from this edge and then it starts bends all the way down here. So it's bending from these 2 points. If I were to instead press K, this is a knife tool, and with the knife tool we're able to cut polygons. So I can click on this edge, drag over here, and click again, and we've got a cut. I want this cut to be completely straight, so I'll actually use another cutting method. We could press here in the mode, I can go over to loop, and this way I'm able to do a loop that basically goes around the geometry. I can show it on the other geometry over here a little bit better how it works. It's basically cutting like this. It's following the geometry and then it's cutting. So we can loop all the way around this, loop all the way around this. So if I do a cut right here and a cut right here, I've created 2 support edges, and if I subdivide once again, you'll see we've got a much tighter curve or corner. And if I move these edges further away, then you'll see we've got a little bit softer corner. And if I move them very close, like this, then our corner is going to be very sharp. And well, we still retain some of the smoothness, but it's much sharper than it was before. So as you can see, this way we are able to create some sharper geometry. You'll be able to see that it still curves around right here, and that's because we need some more support loops to make this completely sharp. I'll just move these out so we get this kind of curve. If I press K again, I'll get the loop tool once again. I can create a few cuts right here, and a cut like that, and a cut like that. And if I press Q, it will enable the subdivision, and we will see what we've got right now. This is now much more sharp in the corners, and depending on how we move these, you'll see that we're actually able to make it even sharper. And that's basically the support loops. So for our other example over here, we want to go into the plane, press K, and I want to use the loop tool for this. So I'll just press E and click to make sure that nothing is selected, because if I had an edge selected, I would only be able to cut that edge. So make sure that nothing is selected, press K, and I'll start adding some loops. So I'll add these loops right here, and let's see what we've got. We've now got these shapes because this will still be round, because we've not added any support loops this way or this way. We've only added them rounded on the side, so that's the only axis that's going to be sharp. We can also press K again, add a loop here, 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 and then on this other axis. Let's see what we've got real quick. We've got this, but it's not perfect yet, because we can still add loops here, here, and here. And these loops go over this cube as well because of how the geometry is laid out. And if I press Q, we will see what we've got. So we've got this right now, and it's basically what we had when it wasn't subdivided, but the difference between this and this is that we have got nice smooth but still sharp corners, and I can actually see, if we take a look at this corner right here and I render, you're able to see that we have got a line going in. There's a little bit of an artifact going in right here, and that's because I don't have a loop going through here. And if we press Q, then you'll be able to see that there are in fact no loop going here. So if I create the loop, subdivide, and render, then you're able to see that the loop or the artifact is gone, and we are left with clean geometry. So a cool thing to notice is if I hover right here, then this is the way the loop has decided to run. If I hover maybe here, the loops decide to go around this way. If I hover here, it decides to go around that way. You'll be able to predict how the loop is going to go around. So if I put my cut tool on this edge right here, then it's going to look at this face, and then it's going to say where's the opposing edge. The opposing edge is right here, and then it's going to look at this edge, say where's the opposing edge. It's over here. Over here, this opposing edge, opposing edge, opposing edge, opposing edge, and it's basically going to go over here and go over there. So if I put it in the middle, this is what we get. And the reason why it goes around right here is because we've got geometry that actually goes in a circle. So the opposing edge is there, the opposing edge is there, the opposing edge is over there, because it's like a parallelogram, or whatever it's called in English. The opposing edge, opposing edge, opposing edge, opposing edge. And this way you can see that we are basically going around in a circle. And that's what the cut tool is showing us as well. Let's also look at some of the other tools. If we go into the point mode, then we can take a look at the slide tool. So we can select the point, and let's say we want to move this further down this line. We can start moving it with these handles like this, and you'll quickly be able to see how hard this is, and you'll actually notice that it's almost impossible to get it precise. So there's of course a solution. If you right click and use the slide tool, just hit slide, you're able to take this point and just drag it along the edge. In other programs this is usually called Constrain To Edge. So this is an edge constraint, and like this I can basically take these points and drag them down, and allow you to try and predict how this is going to look when it's subdivided. I would say that it's going to be where's the slide tool? There we go. If I do like this, then I would say that it's going to be a much softer edge. We can also move this in. And here we don't actually have to use the slide tool because it's on a precise axis. But on this one you have to move it on two axes at once, and that gets pretty messy. So if I subdivide this, this is going to be very soft compared to the other edges. And as you can see, it's much softer. And this is a way that you can control the sharpness just by moving around the edges. So that was the slide tool. Let's look what there's. There's a close polygon hole. Let's try and use that. So I will just select all this geometry and delete it. And let's look at a few ways that we can close this hole. So close polygon hole would be a very obvious option. Just go to the side, click, and as you can see it has closed the hole. But we get these weird green lines. What do these lines mean? Well, if you were to look at this polygon and start counting the amount of edges, you can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We've got 10 edges on this polygon. And remember me talking about using quads? Well, we're not using 10-sided polygons, we're only using quads. So these green lines, they indicate places that the program wants us to cut. You see we cannot select them, even though we're in the edge mode, we're not able to select them. This is just recommended cuts. So if we press K, bring up the knife tool, you'll be able to see that we're now in the loop tool, and that's not going to work. So we want to just select the line mode, and that way we can highlight this vertex, click, go over here, click once again, click, 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 and like that we have now added these edges back in. And this was also how it looked before, so Cinema 4D recommended us to create exactly the right edges. Another way of closing this hole, which in some cases may be faster, would be going into edge mode, right click, bridge, and then just bridge these edges. If the geometry is very tight, like if these points were extremely close to each other, like this, then as you can see, bridging would be very hard, because how would you click right here and drag over and hit exactly the edge in between these 2 points? You basically wouldn't be able to do that, and there you would be using the closed polygon hole or finding a third way of doing it. So that was the closed polygon hole once again. You can also try the polypin, and with the polypin you're basically able to just click like this and create polygons. It's very easy to use. Somehow they determine a plane, and it's just a quick way of getting some geometry down. Click right here to end the polygon. So it really uses the way you're facing with your camera. And right now we have created some polygons. I much rather prefer to use this method, just click and drag like this, and then going in, if I want these to be in a little bit different position, I would go in, select them individually and just drag out like this and get my shape this way, because I think it's a little bit unprecise using the polypen like this. So if we were to subdivide this, then you'd see we would get this very smooth thing. But what if we wanted this edge that we have created right here, if we wanted that to be sharp, we'd go into the edge mode, press K, choose the loop tool, and we would create an edge right there. And now, as you can see, we've got this edge very sharp. We can also create these 2 edges out here, this edge and this edge, and now it's a square. And that's the same same thing we used here with these support loops. Support loops are whatever, or support loops are what makes your geometry sharp. We've already talked about the knife tool, we've got the iron tool, and I don't get the idea with this tool, I must say. Try the iron tool. I think what it's doing is that it's smoothing out the geometry a bit, making it a little bit smoother, like ironing clothes, but to me it doesn't really make any sense. Here's the magnet tool, and this is basically a way to like move, to somewhat smoothly move parts of your geometry. So if you take your middle mouse button, like the scroll wheel, and hold it down and then move to the left and right, you're able to change the size, and if you move up and down, you're able to change the strength. So like this, you can like move this corner and do it kinda smoothly. And there we go. That's basically the magnet tool. It may be useful for something like vehicle modeling, where you want to do something smoothly. I don't know. I'd maybe use the iron tool for that. Yeah, I don't really like these tools. Stitch and sew. Don't want to look into that. Not really that useful. Let's try and see what it does. To be honest, I've actually forgotten what stitch and sew does. Stitch and sew. Okay, so with stitch and sew, you're able to take a point, drag it onto another point, and weld them together. But I don't see the difference between doing that and doing a weld like that. So I would just go with the weld tool instead of using the stitch and sew. We've got the melt tool. So if we have these two faces, you can see there's an edge between them. If you were to right click and choose melt, then the edge disappears. This edge is just a guideline from Cinema 4D. It's not actually there. So you can see we've got this one large polygon. This would be more useful if you had something like this, where you had a two triangles and you wanted to make them into one quad. You could select them, choose melt, and you've got one quad. You can also, as I showed you earlier, go into edge mode, highlight, right click, dissolve. And I think the dissolve method is the easiest and basically the most correct. So, well, that's at least what I do. So, I think this is about it for the useful tools. There are a lot of tools that aren't very useful, so let's just leave those alone or use them in a few cases where they may be useful. So this is about it for just a kind of quick introduction to the different tools that we have available in Cinema 4D. And this will basically be what you're going to be using when you create your 3D models. So what we'll be doing now is that we will be using some subdivision modeling to create some interesting shapes. So see you in the next video.
Thank you for watching Edupedia World. Stay tuned for more videos.